Treason has been trending all day on Twitter, and when I encountered this story, it left me utterly nonplussed. I don't know how much more evidence you guys need that this federal government of the United States, they're really showing their contempt for the US citizens. We have this breaking story: US Supreme Court lets Border Patrol remove Texas razor wire fencing for now. The US Supreme Court on Monday agreed to temporarily let the US Border Patrol agents cut or remove razor wire fencing that Texas officials placed along part of the Republican governed state's border with Mexico to deter illegal border crossings. From what I understand, it was working. You guys have had so many migrants, illegal migrants, just pouring into that country over the last number of years. It's in the tens of millions. It's absolutely insane. The fact that they are seemingly deliberately doing this is absolutely enraging. The justices, in a 5-4 decision, granted a request by President Joe Biden's administration, of course, to pause a lower court ruling that temporarily blocked federal agents from disturbing the fencing while litigation over the issue proceeds. Two conservative members of the court, Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Amy Coney Barrett, joined the three liberal justices in the majority, with conservative justices Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh dissenting. The New Orleans-based Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, which issued the dispute interim ruling, is set to hear arguments on February 7 over whether Border Patrol agents violated Texas law by cutting the razor wire barrier. The fencing in dispute was installed on private property along the Rio Grande River by the Texas National Guard as part of what was called Operation Lone Star, launched by Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott in 2021 to deter illegal border crossings. Texas sued the administration in October 23 over what it said was an intensified practice by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents of cutting, destroying, or otherwise damaging fences that the state had strategically placed on private land with permission of landowners. Republicans have sharply criticized Biden's immigration policies and the flow of illegal entries across the US border with Mexico, an issue certain to heat up ahead of the November 5th election, in which the Democratic president is seeking another 4 years in office. Can you imagine that? Let's take a look at some of this.
Are already going. Buckle up here. And welcome back to the Hill, as it was a big win for President Biden against the state of Texas today. The Supreme Court siding with the administration, clearing the way for Border Patrol agents to remove razor wire along a busy stretch of the southern border. Now, that wire was destroyed by Texas Governor Greg Abbott, or at least ordered to be destroyed, whose office responded to the ruling this way, saying, quote, "The case is ongoing, and Governor Abbott will continue fighting to defend Texas's property and its constitutional authority to secure the border."
Guys, there is a reason that treason is trending right now on Twitter, like hard out. Everyone is talking about this. This is crazy. I'm going to pull up some tweets. Let's just have a look at these pictures, man. This is absolute insanity. This can't be happening. What the fuck, America? The barriers erected by Texas were actually working, which is why the Biden admin was so hell-bent on destroying them. This is insane. There they are, having a good old time removing your freedom. Look at this. There are thousands upon thousands of people that go for miles in this one caravan that are just pouring through Eagle Pass right now. And here's a tweet from Texas Governor Greg Abbott. This is not over. Texas razor wire is an effective deterrent to the illegal crossings Biden encourages. I will continue to defend Texas' constitutional authority to secure the border and prevent the Biden admin from destroying our property. The Biden administration is quite literally putting American lives at risk on purpose right now. An unforgivable amount of contempt towards the US citizens and their right to national security. And here's a quote from Tucker Carlson. So it's unanimous. Everyone in power, from the White House to the hedge fund managers to the Supreme Court of the United States, has decided to destroy the country by allowing it to be invaded. That leaves the population to defend itself. Where are all the men of Texas? Why aren't they protecting their state? I really don't want to sound like Tim Pool here, guys, but I think this is heading in a really frightening direction.
Everybody keeps putting faith in the Supreme Court to do the right thing. But today they said Texas, even on Texas land, can't put up barbed wire, can't have state police, can't have Texas Guard try to stop the invasion happening that Mayorkas and Biden created. They told the illegals when Biden was running for office, when I win, surge the border. They've set up UN camps all over Central and South America that I covered today in great detail with investigative journalist Michael Yon to bring them into the country. The same invasion strategy that was used on Europe in the last 15 years. This is all official. And when you watch the congressional hearings, they never bring up State Department money funding over 70% of it. The UN funds 10%, Communist China funds on average 20%. So in a consortium of the US government and Communist China and the UN, they built these giant refugee centers and fly people and pay them to come and then stage and invade the United States. Because if they built a UN camp in northern Mexico, it'd be too obvious. So they do it in Panama and other areas. So I'm not going to make a prediction about what the Supreme Court's going to do with President Trump and them trying to take him off the ballot. But everybody that's so sure, because it's constitutional, they'll do the right thing, I think you're naive. So we're going to show you footage, just happened minutes ago, of the feds opening the gates of the border in Texas at Eagle Pass, removing the barbed wire, and Governor of Texas following the orders of the feds to do this. And yes, the feds under the Constitution are in control of the border, but not when they facilitate the destruction of the country. Texas has emergency powers. In the federalist system, the feds aren't in charge. Federalist system means it's a separation of powers and a division of powers, 50-50 between the states and the feds. The feds are captured.
The story of history is the story of invasions. One group of people moving into someone else's land and taking it. One nation ends, another begins. Invasions drive history. Few Americans understand this is happening to them right now. The United States of America is being invaded.
For the love of God, this is a damn invasion. Who is allowing this?
They invaded our privacy.
I think it's an invasion of the country.
In other words, it's ending. The country you grew up in no longer exists. Soon it will be unrecognizable. No one is fighting back. Few are even acknowledging it. Americans are being replaced. That's not a conspiracy theory, it's a fact. In August of 2023, illegal immigration outpaced American births, a brand new population. Last year alone, over 3 million people came here illegally just over our southern border. The media won't tell you it's happening, but if you look around, you can see it, and you can see it most clearly in our cities, which are collapsing. Our team uncovered a shadow terminal, for example, inside Chicago O'Hare Airport. Hundreds of migrants were being hidden there secretly. Our team pulled up with cameras rolling, and at first we didn't see much. The city erected a black tarp to hide what was going on. Inside, our team found more than 100 beds on the floor. The smell was overpowering, repulsive. It was filthy. But it's not just airport terminals that have been given over to people who've come here illegally from the poorest countries in the world without permission. Even police stations in Chicago have been turned into refugee camps. This is new video never seen before of what's actually happening inside Chicago's police stations. Keep in mind, the people who work in those police stations are paid to protect you, but that's not what they're doing. They're running refugee camps for illegal aliens. You live in America, the place you grew up, the place you'd like to see your children grow up, in much the way that you did. But that won't be possible because of the single greatest sellout in our history. Hundreds of years of America eliminated by an invasion that our leaders made possible.
This really is a constitutional crisis. I'm not really sure what, I'm kind of lost for words with this one. Let's take a look at what this feckless old fuck has to say.
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come.
More than 11,000 migrants are waiting in shelters in northern Mexico. 3,800 in Tijuana, 3,200 in Reynosa, 4,000 in Matamoros.
The border is closed. The border is secure.
as the president said, he's all about border security.
I want to be very clear. Our borders are not open.
This cannot continue. This is unsustainable. This is a real constitutional crisis. Perhaps at some stage, Texas really needs to think about the idea of secession, because it would appear that the United States federal government is certainly at war with the people of the United States. There's a real reason that everyone is calling this an invasion, because in effect, that's exactly what this is.